Hello, my fellow project managers, PMP aspirants, and PMP graduates. I hope you're doing well. Today, I just want to address 2026 for those of you who are looking to get to that next level in your PMP exam prep, which means actually getting certified by going all the way to the end. And those of you who are already PMPs, I'm going to be sharing with you what's coming on this channel. First of all, let's address the PMPs. Round of applause for those of you who are already certified. This channel is going to be providing you advanced coaching ideas and training and mentoring to get you to that next level. Because it's one thing to get PMP certified, but it's another thing to add value to an organization that has given you the chance. And it's also a totally different thing to even be allowed in the door of the organization to be able to ace the interview and things like that. So, what I would like from you is for you to drop me in the comments any topics, any ideas, any titles, things that are bothering you, or ideas on your mind about project management that you want answers from a professional on, someone who's been in the field for over 2 decades. Drop me a comment and let me know what you're looking for. But in the next few days, you're going to see a video drop that talks about the life after the PMP exam and how to deal with these advanced topics like stakeholders, like organizational strategy, and things like that. All right, for those of you who are getting ready for the PMP exam, I wanted to clarify some ideas because maybe you're wondering, am I putting in enough time? Am I doing the right thing? There's something else I should be doing to succeed. Let me give you the blueprint. To succeed on the PMP exam, be prepared to put in anywhere from 100 to 200 hours. And that's being a little bit conservative. Now, I would say if you are a student that finds it very difficult to concentrate, you might actually spend a lot more time getting familiar with the material. So you got to give yourself time. It took me 6 months to prepare for the exam with a full time job. For some other people, it takes them up to a year. I just had one of my students who I started teaching in February of 2025. He just got certified at the end of 2025. So it took him roughly 10 months almost. So you got to give yourself time. There's no point being a speed demon and crashing out and then not doing well on the exam. So my suggestion to you is to take it as slow as it needs to be, but make it deliberate and intentional. So, this student of mine who passed the exam, he put himself on a regular schedule, a daily schedule, even if it means 30 minutes a day or 1 hour a day. Like what I used to do, I would take out my break 1 hour and I would hide myself in the car where I was not going to be disturbed by colleagues and I would study for full hours. Sometimes I would get my lunch and then go into the car and you wouldn't find me because I'd be studying. So you have to be intentional with your studying. As you study, there have to be, in my mind, three ingredients. You have to study and read books, right? For those of you that may not want to, apply yourself to use highlighters, stay engaged in book reading. And I'm not saying read PMBOK guide, I'm saying read books that matter, books that connect you to the material that you feel this gravitational pull towards. Don't read stuff that is just so absolutely boring that you're going to fall asleep. In other words, ambient, right? One of my students said PMBOK guide is the best pill to fall asleep. It's better than Ambien. So if that's what it's doing to you, don't keep taking Ambien, right? Seriously, look for a book that will connect the ideas to you in the way you understand. So highlighting the books, reading, going through, trying to recall, that's number one. Number two, take a lot of quizzes on the regular. Take quizzes about the knowledge areas, take quizzes about the process groups, take quizzes that test you on PMI's content outline for the PMP. So you want people, process, and business to be tested. If you don't have a great tool, you might want to go to pmpdoctor.com because what we've done, we've put a quiz for every single task. All the tasks in people have a quiz, all the tasks in process, and all the tasks in business. That's how you need to test yourself. So don't just test yourself in knowledge areas and process groups, but test yourself by domain, people, process, and business, and then test yourself by the actual tasks. And that will let you know if indeed you have understood the task, because there are 35 tasks, and all these tasks are on the PMP exam. Okay. So reading, taking copious quizzes. And last of all, what I've found to be very helpful is people engaging in media rich content. So, videos, go to pmp.pmradio.org, put it in your browser, pmp.pmradio.org, and you'll be able to find a lot of videos that I've prepared right here on YouTube. It's like a playlist, and it has all of the domains, people, process, business for the PMP. Also, look for study.pmradio.org. Study.pmradio.org. That will lead you to my podcast, 40 Days to PMP Exam Success. So you keep listening to this stuff over and over again. When you're on the go, you're on the road. Like for me, I was listening to stuff all day long when it came time for my PMP exam. I actually have some of the materials that I would study over here. Back in the day, this was available. This project management audio digest, but now I have changed my delivery mode to give you even more content on the regular. So you might want to look for my PMP exam radio show. If you look for the PMP exam radio show in your podcast, you can also have that. So those are the three things I would recommend: reading books, taking quizzes, and media rich content, videos, and then podcasts where you're actually listening to me connecting you to the world of the PMP material so that the material becomes part of you. Okay. Also remember that in addition to people, process, and business, you got to have a very huge understanding, thorough understanding of the world of hybrid and agile. If you're only good in predictive, it's going to be a bloodbath on the exam. So you got to go into agile, understand your agile manifesto values, really master them, really understand. I'm not talking about cramming them, like really understand them. Okay. So master that aspect of the agile manifesto values and the principles. So individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working product over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. Those four, get them into your psyche. Really understand what they mean. And then on top of that, like if you have any doubts, just use your AI models to have a dialogue and say, hey, expand on principle one or expand on value one, because when you go into the principles, that's where even more of the juice is. So you got to understand our highest priority is to satisfy the customer. Why or how? Through early and continuous delivery. Early and continuous. Ask the AI why early and continuous. Like probe every word in the Agile Manifesto. You can actually find how I break it down on this channel, on the podcast. I'm breaking down the Agile Manifesto because I know that if you don't understand the principles, if you don't have the Agile memory muscle, when you come across those hybrid Agile questions on the PMP, could be very difficult. So you want to master Agile and hybrid, have it down pat. The Agile Practice Guide is another book where you want to understand the four hybrid models, Agile and hybrid, like a sub, or Agile and hybrid, a little bit of Agile, a whole lot of predictive, a little bit of Agile. It's all there in the Agile Practice Guide. You get what I mean, and it shows you how you can look at these four models, and it goes even further in the Agile Practice Guide into showing you the 10 knowledge areas and how the 10 knowledge areas could be practiced with a more agile reasoning. I think this is on page 90 something in the Agile Practice Guide. You got to read and understand these things. You see, the PMP exam is not just a bunch of things that they're looking for you to regurgitate. No, they're really looking for you to go over the content and demonstrate through the answer you pick and understanding. You got to demonstrate understanding. And that's why it's very wordy, very verbose. But if you can sift through the crud, you see, oh, they're probably talking about Scrum. They're probably talking about Kanban, or they're talking about a hybrid situation, or they're talking about a fully predictive, strictly predictive situation. And you're able to run through everything very rapidly. You go straight to quality. You know that, oh, this is quality control. And that's one of the benefits of knowing the material, not cramming the 49 processes, but really knowing to be able to diagnose. It's like taking your car to the mechanic and, they put it through that diagnostic tool and they know exactly what is causing the trouble. And that's what you need to be able to do on the PMP exam. You need to be able to diagnose every question so that when they say, what should the project manager do next? You're going to say, okay, this is quality. This is monitoring and controlling. This sounds to be more like a hybrid situation. So the answer is this. Or, okay, they talked about testing. This is not quality assurance. This is quality control, and this is it. Or maybe it's a risk question. You're able to say, okay, this sounds like a qualitative risk analysis, even though they're trying to confuse me with the numbers. No, it's not quantitative, it's qualitative, and this is the answer. So you got to be able to relate to the information, like have a spatial map in your head so that wherever you are, right, on the exam, you know exactly what PMI is looking for. You know, Andre, one of my students now, PMP, he would say it's like being thrown out of the helicopter, in the dark. You got to understand he's a military guy. So he gave the analogy when you're dropped from above, you got to know with the GPS where exactly am I, and you got to find your way out of the place. So the PMP exam is very similar. You're dropped almost in the middle of nowhere, and you're told to figure it out. And this is why a lot of people they don't do well on the exam because they don't know the terrain. You got to understand all the coordinates. Let me give you the coordinates one more time. You're getting ready for the PMP exam. People, process, and business. That's number one. All the 35 tasks. That's another intricate layer, and then understanding, initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, closing. What exactly am I doing there? And where do those 35 tasks intersect with any of those five process groups? Then you got to go down again by knowledge area and truly understand integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communications, risk, procurement, stakeholder. You got to understand what am I doing in all of these places and where do they map to in the five process groups and also the 35 tasks. And where do they map to, or where could they possibly go as far as the world of Agile? You see what I'm saying? The agile values and the principles. You got to have that spatial map in your head so that at any point in time, you know the domain, you know the knowledge area, you know the task, you even know the process, and then you know the most sensible tool that could be used next or the most sensible step to take next. You see, what is missing? A lot of people, they've got everything jumbled up. They've not mapped it out. You need that spatial map. It's like an understanding of the terrain, like a GPS. And that's where a lot of you need to get to before you take the exam. Yeah, you can take all the quizzes to the cows come home, but if the quizzes you're taking are not solid quizzes that are exposing you to your gaps, you need to find a solid system like pmpdoctor.com and really go for those weak areas and close them by doing the three things I talked about: reading books, highlighting, writing them in your own words, taking copious quizzes, until perfection. Like if you take a quiz, understand why you got the answers wrong and take it again. And then lastly, that media content rich experience that many of you love. I'm not talking about boring stuff. I'm talking about things that will grip your attention and help you anchor the material back. And that's why I said go to pmp.pmradio.org, go to study.pmradio.org, look for the PMP exam radio show with me on all platforms. You'll find it. It's one of the top viewed shows in the world of PMP because there's not a whole lot of podcasts that focus on the content. I don't do a whole bunch of those advertising things. I just focus on the content. So those podcasts are going to help you. Just listen to them round the clock. I've got like thousands and thousands of minutes of information there, and I'm always updating it. And then if you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it, and I hope this helps. Now, one last group of people I want to address are those who have taken the PMP exam and they found difficulty. Don't give up, my friend. You got to look at this as a stepping stone, right? This is a setup for your comeback. It's a setback, but don't look at it as that. Look at it as a setup for your comeback. I had a student who took the PMP exam the first time and then the second time. And I didn't know him at that time. And he took it the third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. And then the seventh time, he came into my orbit. And I said, dude, if you're going to take this thing, let me know that you're going to take it. And let's do some last minute revision. And he took it for the seventh time. And he failed it. Failed it. And then he picked himself up. And I said, dude, this is what we need to do this time. Eighth time was a charm. Passed it on the eighth try. Today, gainfully employed, doing very well, and nobody even knows that he failed the exam 7 times. So, my friend, if you have failed the exam, pick yourself up, keep going, don't give up. What you might need is an adjustment of mindset. Look for my mindset videos on this channel. Once you get into the flow of the PMP dogma, you know what exactly they're looking for on those questions. On those questions, there's a workflow that you need to go through, and I'm going to walk you through what I call the DIGCIV model. Okay, DIGCIV. So without much ado, let's go to the whiteboard. I want to show you the DIGCIV model so that you really embrace it good. So, my friends, when you are taking the PMP exam, be aware of this 6-step process. There are 6 steps that you should go through mentally. And I call this the DIGCIV approach. The DIGCIV approach is a framework that you need to go through when you're problem solving. Step 1 is D for define. You must always define the real problem. Do not get sidetracked by things that are a symptom of the problem, but they are not the real problem. For example, you get a question. Phill is a project manager on a project. He checks his schedule and he realizes he's running late. What should he do next? A, crash the project. B, do an earned value analysis on the project. C, fast track the project. D, do a cause and effect analysis. In this case, the right answer would not be to crash or fast track. Why is that? Because we haven't gotten to the real problem yet. We need to understand what is the root cause. The question doesn't tell us. So crashing or fast tracking will be presumptuous. Doing an earned value analysis is not going to help us move past the reality, right? We could understand the state of the project, but how to proceed, it comes with knowing what the root cause is. So when you tackle exam questions, you must always ask, why are we late? You don't know why we're late? You got to find out why we're late. You get what I'm saying? So always define the problem. Number 2 is identify. Identify. And you're going to identify the root cause. Identify the root cause. When you have identified the root cause, what is causing the problem, the next step would be G, to generate. You got to generate with the team alternatives. You see, you cannot get to the alternatives if you have not identified the root cause and truly define the problem, the real problem, right? So you define the real problem, you identify what is causing it, then you generate alternatives. Those first 3 steps are vital for you to be heading in the right direction. When you have generated alternatives mentally, you then choose, you have to choose the best alternative. And we could use a variety of ways. We could vote, we could Ask team members to weigh in. There's so many things you could do. When you have chosen the best alternative, you implement that alternative. Implement the alternative. All right. And then this is pretty much in the real world. This is the DIGCIV approach for the real world. On the exam, when you define the real problem right there on your seat and identify the root cause and generate alternatives, you then mentally go through them and you choose the best. Then, in your mind's eye, implement it. Imagine you implemented that alternative and ask yourself the final question. After you've implemented it in your mind's eye, you do the last thing, V, verify. You verify, did this work? Verify solution effectiveness. These are the things that will help you better kill the test on your next try. Define the real problem, identify the root cause, generate alternatives, choose the best alternative, implement the alternative, and verify that indeed the alternative worked. And this, my friends, is how you refire, you attack the exam on your next attempt. Friends. So, over the past number of minutes, we've been talking about the PMP exam. We've been trying to understand what your strategy should be, how you should approach the exam, and the steps that you need to take if you've failed the exam before, analyze what the PMI gives you, and go for the next round. I also have a website which is dedicated to people who have failed the exam or people who are preparing for the exam. So let me put that up on the screen. This is available at the Praizion site. Here it is. All right. So go on down to the website, projectmanagementdoctor.com/stamp out. You'll be able to see a video here on how to analyze your exam report from PMI and what I advise you to do. So that's the first page right up there. Second page is projectmanagementdoctor.com/cheat sheet. This cheat sheet gives you some insights on what you should look out for before you enter the exam. Just go through this with a fine tooth comb and make sure that you understand all of these concepts. And let's see. One more thing that you need to look for is my free course page, which will give you access to some free templates. So let me open that up. All right. So here is the free course page. Here I have some drag and drop questions that will get you in ship shape for the exam. These drag and drops, they're not easy. They do require a fair amount of understanding. You just need to join them like that. And they'll tell you if you got them right or wrong after you submit. So continue and then understand how they really should match, you know. And I also have some risk drag and drop questions. So risk management, you have escalate, avoid, transfer, mitigate, accept. It's kind of important for you if you're taking the exam for you to understand what is what. I also have some MBTI drag and drop questions too. So this will really kick you into shape, into awareness and understanding. I find these to be very, very challenging, even as the author. So, you know, watch that and then you have a better understanding. And just remember, the exam is not about rote tests, it's about understanding. That's key. And then here I have some additional videos for your prep that talk about the flow of work, change request process flow itself, and iteration based agile, and many, many more topics that you can go through. So that's that. And last but not least, I have a page with some free templates. All right, and here is the final page. The final page is projectmanagementdoctor.com/30-day. Go over there and you'll be able to get a detailed plan for 30 days of study for the PMP. Just click on it and it'll take you straight there. And that's downloadable. You can download it and use this as a guide to study for your exam. And then also click on the repository for free sample project documents. When you click on that, it'll take you to this list that I have curated, which contains a lot of the templates that were freely available via the CDC website. So check that out, and that might help you in your studying of project management. And then also on this page, I have a week by week breakdown of the PMBOK 6 or Agile Practice Guide topics, pages that you can use to better understand each task. But again, don't forget to check out the podcast and the channel for a lot more information. Okay, I hope this was of help. And don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you in future episodes. I wish you all the very best. Take care and bye for now.